Hello, I'm Ashley Mashiri. Welcome to the programme. We start this hour with the latest on the electronic pager explosions in Lebanon. Multiple reports say that Israel's Mossad spy agency placed explosives in thousands of Hezbollah pagers before they detonated across Lebanon on Tuesday. So far, Israel hasn't commented. And given the simultaneous explosions, hospitals in Lebanon have been overwhelmed with casualties. The country's health ministry says at least 11 were killed, among them an 8-year-old girl. Thousands more were wounded, with hundreds in a critical condition in hospital. Some were blinded, others lost fingers or required amputations. The context here is Hezbollah, which is a proscribed terrorist organisation by the UK and several other countries, had been using the pagers instead of mobile phones to communicate with each other. That's due to the risk of phones being hacked. A senior Lebanese security source told the Reuters news agency they were brought into the country months ago. Now, separately, Israeli and US sources say Israel detonated the pagers earlier than planned, fearing that Hezbollah had become aware of the plan. Now, in another development, police have visited the offices of a company in Taiwan as the pagers seem to carry a Taiwanese brand. The boss of the company, Gold Apollo, has denied any involvement in the attacks. He told reporters that his company had signed an agreement 3 years ago with a European-based company, BAC, which has an address in Budapest in Hungary. Here's a little of what he said earlier in a hastily arranged news conference in Taipei.
Gold Apollo, in the past 3 years, has established a long-term trademark authorization with BAC Company. We have a regional agency cooperation and a cooperation agreement. This product is not Apollo's product, but a product that I authorize our trademark for them to brand. This product is not in our company. The thing you found now, it's not our product.
Your company no longer produces the AR924 model.
It's not that we no longer produce it. They're not our product from beginning to the end. How can we produce products that are not ours?
Are you 100% sure that the product is not made in Taiwan?
100% sure.
It is not from your company?
No.
Well, the United States and the UN have called for restraint and calm after the pager explosions. We'll have more reaction from the region shortly. But first, here's a report from our correspondent Graham Satchell and a warning: it does contain distressing images from the very start.
It was an audacious, unprecedented attack. All across Lebanon, thousands of pagers exploding at the same time. Many were on the street. Some, like here, in people's homes. Some in supermarkets. Emergency services struggle to cope with the scale of the attack. Thousands of Hezbollah members suffering injuries in the same instant. Israel hasn't commented, but few have any doubts about its role. So how was Israel able to target Hezbollah in this way? Hezbollah started using pagers, an old technology, after it realized its mobile phones were being monitored. The theory is Israel knew Hezbollah had ordered thousands of new pagers and intercepted the shipment.
Assuming that this was more than just making lithium batteries override and overheat, but they had planted small amounts of explosives in each one of these pagers, then this was unquestionably a calculated attack.
On the border between Israel and Lebanon, there have been constant exchanges of fire since the war in Gaza began. Yesterday's attack will pile more pressure into a region that is already volatile and precarious.
One of the scenarios that this is just a beginning to disrupt Hezbollah's communication network, a beginning of a much larger military operation in Lebanon, where when Hezbollah cannot communicate with each other, the Israelis will have a better chance at winning or expanding the operations in Lebanon.
Funerals are already taking place in Lebanon, and with them, warnings.
We hold the Israeli enemy responsible for all of the victims, for all of the martyrs, for all of the wounded, and we believe that the reprisal is coming.
In a statement, the Foreign Office said, "We continue to monitor the situation in Lebanon closely, and the UK is working with diplomatic and humanitarian partners in the region. The civilian casualties following these explosions are deeply distressing. We urge calm heads and de-escalation at this critical time." There is now considerable international concern at what may come next. Graham Satchell, BBC News.
Let's speak now to Nada Atullah. She's a Beirut correspondent for the Middle East-based The National. She's also visited some of the hospitals where some of the victims of the blast were taken. Nada, thanks for your time. So I want to ask you straight away what you've actually witnessed at that hospital and some of the reaction from Lebanese civilians.
Thank you for having me. So I visited some hospitals yesterday, and it was a complete chaos in the country, in the capital, and in hospitals. There were like the sirens of ambulances, constant sirens wailing in Beirut. Hospitals were overwhelmed. I visited 3 hospitals. They would not let me in for security reasons because the army had closed the area. And they would not let anyone enter, not even the family. So people were begging to be let in because they had like family members worried for their loved ones, but they would not let anyone in. So people were gathered outside. It was complete chaos. I interviewed some of the family members. They told me they've seen harrowing scenes of injuries of people without their eyes, people with blood everywhere on their face, people with their blood on their hands, and very severe injuries. So, and until very, very late at night, yesterday, we were hearing the sirens and the constant sound of the sirens of the ambulances transferring patients during a very late at night.
And Nada, what you're describing there, it's a large-scale attack here, something that's really affected civilians. In terms of those linked to Hezbollah, what do we know in terms of who and how many people have been injured?
So far, I think there's currently a press conference from the Ministry of Health, but so far the numbers are nearly 3,000 injured, 200 severely, and 9 killed. Among them, there's 8 fighters that Hezbollah have announced, and 1 child, a little girl who's 8 years old. But there might be more because when I went to the hospitals yesterday, many cases were very critical. So it is possible that there might be more deaths.
Right.
The death toll might increase.
And Neda, Iran's ambassador to Lebanon is said to have been injured by the attack as well. What have we been hearing in terms of response from either Hezbollah or even Iran?
Yes, so yeah, he's been injured. He said that his situation it was a light injury. Regarding the retaliation, the response, so Hezbollah had said there will be a response. There will be a severe and a fair response to that attack. We don't know what it would be, of course. But Hassan Nasrallah, Hezbollah chief, said he will be speaking tonight about the most recent development. So we're expecting some more information tonight. It's not the first time that tensions are peaking between Hezbollah and Israel, and lots of time we've been in Lebanon at the edge of a full-scale war. So we don't know if that's going to be the escalation that's going to trigger a full-fledged war, or it's going to be another loop of violence that will be followed by a calmer situation. So we're caught up in these loops of violence in Lebanon, and it's really uncertain what's going to happen next.
All right, Nada, thanks for your time. That was Nada Atullah, a Beirut correspondent for the Middle East-based The National. And as Nada mentioned there, the Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah is to make an address tomorrow. That's according to a statement from the Iran-backed group. And we do have a live page online right now with the very latest developments, updates, analysis as well from our correspondents on what we know about these pager explosions. You'll find that on the BBC News website and app.